I've had probably 30 years in industry, the manufacturing industries and building. And I just got fed up with doing what I was doing. My wife said, well, why don't you do something with kids? You're good with kids. And about a month later, this job came up. Came up for an interview and got the job and have never looked back since. Children!
At Holmesdale Technology College in Kent, there are 40 teachers and 60 non-teaching staff for 850 students. Training for non-teaching staff is highly valued at the school, and today these teaching assistants are having a weekly training session as they work towards their MVQ Level 3.
If a child is believed to be at risk, their parents must always be informed before the suspicions are reported to social services.
I think parents have a right to know what's been said about them.
Investing in training for support staff of any kind, not just the teaching assistants, is absolutely essential because the teachers couldn't manage, in my opinion, without the support staff. They contribute so much, and it's probably only when they're not here, when they're absent, that teachers realise just exactly how much they do in the classroom. You've raised concerns about a child, but nothing appears to have been done. Should you wait until somebody else has similar concerns? Nothing? It's not your problem once you've reported it? Or should you be persistent even if it means making yourself unpopular?
Persistent. Yeah, I think I would.
Good.
There's always a learning curve. You can get culture shock if you're not careful. So certainly I felt the need for training. I didn't realise until I came into this that one or two pupils, you know, do have very great issues with anger and stuff like that. I've done anger management training, which has helped no end. We've done quite a lot of training on classroom behaviour, controlling the classroom, which is very good because that really does help you. When I first came in, that helped me no end with actually building relationships within the classroom. We've got certain pupils who really only respond to a man. So I have a little bit of an advantage over some of the ladies in that respect. And so I get some of the children with the anger issues.
I've done my research, which is up on the board, so I'm going to draw down some ideas up there and design up my own pendant.
So we've come down to the tech department, and this is the RM class we're going to be working with today. It's a Year 9 class. They are a bit lively, a difficult class to work with at times, and today they're actually designing Maori pendant. I'm in there to work with one particular pupil called Kurt.
My mum's like that, she can't go against a Skineva.
No, it's called a joke.
Actually, she can't, she's allergic to it.
Is she?
Yeah.
How could you be
Dear, that's unfortunate.
You tell me.
Some people are. I'm considering the teaching role. I wouldn't mind doing the higher level teaching assistant course, but that's one that's further down in the future. You know, I want to learn more about my role first and learn more to be able to support the pupils more, because they are the be-all and end-all for me.
Right, you see that? See, what you guys should be doing now is like printing these patterns off. If you're going to all work together, yeah. So, you know, you need about four images. Yeah, do you know what this pattern is called? It's called Kōwhaiwhai. Because it's everywhere in New Zealand. You see them on the meeting houses, outside marae.
We have teachers coming from all over the world now. And some of those teachers are not used to having people within a classroom with them, and some of them are used to being the dominant force within that class, and they can see it as an intrusion into their classroom. I've actually had teachers, you know, sort of confide in me that they think you're spying on them.
I'm from New Zealand. I've only been here, well, not even, it's been coming up to a month, and it's quite interesting to sort of see when I came here that they have TAs and even classroom teaching assistants, which is sort of, well, you know, you don't sort of have that in New Zealand, and it's been good having the TA in the class. It's helping calm the class because he knows the kids and I don't. You're just trying to avoid the work.
You've sussed him, sir, you've sussed him. I'd say 90% of teachers value the role of having an extra person within the classroom. We put so much pressure on teachers and pupils these days to actually perform within a school setting. And I think every help you can give those teachers and every help you can give those pupils is an advantage. They come to me and talk to me, and I'm sort of tickled pink that they trust me enough to actually come and talk to me. My aim is to push forward, learn a little bit more about pupil mentoring, and then become a pupil mentor.
Uncle Fred was killed. He left me his plane in his will. Right, so in the little boxes at the bottom, you've got all the words that are in bold.
I did a lot of work for Tesco's. I worked there for 6 years. Started off as a supervisor, worked my way through into management. I then did a little cleaning job for the ex-Senko that used to work here, and she offered me the job 3 times before I had the confidence to actually say, yes, okay, I'll give it a go. And that was 7 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
Julie Wood's an LSA, and she spends, I would say, 80% of her time in the classroom supporting individual statement of pupils on a one-to-one basis within the class.
This one, what do you think?
Potty train.
Potty train. They're training on the potty, okay?
She also has withdrawal groups in the SEN classroom for children who need extra literacy support.
Do you all know what a will is?
Yeah, when you leave people things.
That's right. You fill it in, and if there's special things that you want to leave people.
A lot of the children find questions difficult to work out, the way the questions are put out. And it's not always easy for the teacher with 30 children in a noisy classroom to sit down and explain to 1 or 2 children that are lacking their confidence and self-esteem, which is, I think, where we can step in and sit down and break it down into smaller parts for them so that they can understand it. When I first started, I was thrown in the deep end, basically. I not only did this little side of the job, but I also did then what was called a catch-up programme, maths and English. And I was basically, there you go, off you go and do that, which was very hard. Did a little bit of training, but they tended to be day courses. But over the last 2 years now, started doing a few sort of 5-week, 7-week courses, which are more intense, include doing an exam at the end, and I feel I get more out of that and the children get more out of that because I feel I've got more of a qualification in what I'm training to do.
I will personally kill you with my bare hands and make you into pizza toppings.
Well done.
Then with your head labs.
Well done. Once a year we have an annual review with our line manager, and we discuss what courses would fit in to obviously benefit the department. At the moment I'm doing a 7-week speech and language course. On my new list was a computer course and a SEAL course.
Caroline Roach is librarian at the school and takes responsibility for the training opportunities of all non-teaching staff.
When I first started in schools, which is more than 15 years ago, teaching assistants were seen as like a mum's army. They were not very highly regarded. Here I think it's changed because we've trained, we've done a lot through training. I fought a lot for training to happen for teaching assistants. The training budget last year, there was more spent on support staff than there was on teaching staff, and I spent a lot of that on training teaching assistants.
Did you choose one this morning? No. You didn't choose a new book? Okay, right.
Della's a teaching assistant who works with me in the library full-time. So although she has the hours of a teaching assistant, she's actually an assistant librarian.
I was previously a science TA, and I went on 1 or 2 training courses which were self-organised, or sort of my boss handed me a piece of paper and said, there you are, do you want to go on that? And since Caroline's taken over, it is much more structured. NVQs are being organised, training days are being organised. When the teachers have a training day, we now have a training day separately, suitable to our needs. Off you go then.
What chapter?
Yeah, that's the first page.
Chapter 1 tells secret tunnels run under the parts of the city.
Yep, good.
He steps with great care.
I was on the verge of leaving before the training came in. I was looking for other jobs, and then there was a much more structured training programme came in, and it was great. Felt valued, felt appreciated, able to do my job better because I was being trained to do my job better. Try that one again. Teachers are being trained to deal with a whole class at once. We need to deal with one-on-one, which is very different, especially if you have a slightly more challenging pupil. The dyslexia training, for example, was absolutely excellent. I learned more in one day than I've learned sort of 4 or 5 years of being a TA. So it's being able to learn things that are particularly appropriate for the children you deal with.
Chapter 3, The Fire. The dark man steps into the new tunnel. The dark man can never rest.
Good. Right, what do you do now after you've read that?
I don't.
You go over to the computer, you do a reading test, don't you? So if you do it now, you might actually get 5 out of 5 again. Good.
Maybe get
You
2
go.
chocolate bars at the same time.
You might do.
You can make different frames. Yeah, so if you click next frame, then you move them slightly. If you move the little orange button, you move slightly and you can see... I actually trained as a secretary, and I worked as a secretary in London and around Kent for many years, and then I gave up my job because I had my children. A friend of mine recommended me for a job here in the SEN department as an LSA. I got the job, I worked with the transition class, and then I moved into ICT and business studies, where I've been in here for about 2.5, 3 years now.
She didn't have a lot of confidence when she started. When she did her NVQ level 2 last year, she told me that there is no way she'd be able to do NVQ level 3 at all because she wasn't educated enough.
Okay, then start him where you want him, so like...
However, after a month of being on the level 2 course, it became obvious that actually she was working at level 3, and we switched her onto the level 3 course, which gave her a great boost of confidence. She was extremely surprised that she could work at that level. This year we're planning to put Juliet through a foundation level degree through the Open University. We've researched several different types of degree, and we felt that this was the best because she wants to go on and teach ICT.
The last thing I would have ever thought about was working in a school, let alone being a teacher, you know. I enjoy my job, and the teacher that I work with knows that I'm capable and is helping me progress into teaching.
So maybe, well no, maybe you could still have it like that, but these would be magnetic strips instead of actually painted on.
Have your van.
The ethos at Holmesdale is can do, not can't do. When Juliet first decided, I think I'm going to do this training, but I don't know if it's really for me. We sat down and we discussed, and said, you can do that. If she can reach her full potential, then in turn that's going to help our students reach theirs. And she needs encouraging, yes, but then we all need encouraging. At times we all sit back and say, I don't think so. But again, our ethos, you can do, and we do.
In the past, certainly when I went to school, certain kids would sit up the back, and it was not necessarily because they were disruptive kids or they didn't want to learn. It was perhaps because they had not got the actual tools to learn with. Nowadays we're more inclusive. We've got more people coming into mainstream now who have problems, and they need support to stay with mainstream. And I think the extra person within the classroom can actually keep those people up to speed. So I think inclusive education is the way forward, because that's the only way we're going to build a better society.